Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Amid this unprecedented spike of COVID cases in the second wave, vaccines are our only hope in saving lives. People who are testing positive today after even one shot of vaccine say that their COVID infections are milder and not as aggressive if the vaccine has been taken. And these symptoms often lead us to saving lives. Times Now has been most vocal about ramping up the vaccination drive, and tonight we look at some key statistics that tell us the real truth. Only 17 crore doses have been administered so far. Yes, in all this opened up vaccination liberalized move, there is only 17 crore doses that have been given to people so far. Around 40 lakh doses were administered on April 11th. That was the highest ever single day vaccination. And now suddenly this rate seems to have fallen to the region of about 6 to 7 lakh vaccines per day. And that is a very, very worrying trend that we are looking. Reports suggest that the current rate, India will take about 142 days to cover just 10% of the population. With soaring infection rates, the vaccination rate seems to be plummeting. Why? Is the vaccine hesitancy, or is it really the availability of vaccines that is the problem? This graph is far from encouraging. Take a look at the graphs. The rate at which there is an increase in COVID infections, the fact is that vaccines are not keeping pace. Look at the slump in the vaccination drive that is so evident between the 1st of May and the 9th of May. The dip is not something that India wants or can afford at this time of the year, at this time of the second wave. India needs a maximum of 270 crore vaccine shots. This estimate is based on India's population, even though medically we need to only vaccinate 60-70% of the population to create a herd immunity. At the moment, what we are looking at is abysmally below any of these standards of achieving 70% vaccination rates. Let's take a scenario one. 17 lakh doses per day, if that is going to be the statistic, then it will take 1,588 days to vaccinate the whole of India, which is close to 5 years. Yes, 2026 if we go at the rate of 17 lakh doses a day. And if we jab 40 lakh people per day, even then we will take 675 days to vaccinate our population, which is almost 2 years, which means up to 2023. This mammoth level drive that we are looking at is something that we need to really think and strategize as soon as possible. The big question on the news hour tonight, is our vaccine drive on the right track? That's the question, and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight on the News Hour is joining us is Sushila Kataria, Doctor of Internal Medicine, Medanta Hospitals, Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, member, National AEFI Committee, which is Adverse Effects Following Immunization, and chairperson of the Center for Social Medicine and Community Health in the JNU. Also joining us tonight is Dr. Anand Bhan, researcher at Global Health Bioethics, joining us this evening. And I want to ask you, Dr. Anand Bhan, the rate of vaccination seems to be dipping in the first week of May as compared to when we were looking at numbers around 11th of April. From 40 lakh jabs a day, we are down to somewhere close to 10-12 lakhs a day. At this pace, clearly we are courting trouble as far as the second wave infection rate is concerned. What's really dogging our vaccination policy, our vaccination drive, given the fact that in the age group of 45 plus, the second doses, not many people are registering. 18 to 45 age group has been opened up. There are not enough vaccines to give in this. What's going wrong with our vaccination drive?
Thank you, Navika, for having me. Absolutely. I think India has one of the largest vaccination programs. This is one of our public health programs which we should be proud of. And it's a bit surprising that, we are in a situation where, as a vaccine-producing country, we have gone so slow over the last few weeks with our vaccine drive, at a time especially when we need it to be ramped up. Now, this probably is a in terms of not anticipating the number of doses you would have required at this point of time. On top of that, you have excessive variation at price points. Rather than just having central procurement, which would have made things easier. Now you have 2 vaccines at 6 price points, which ends up confusing people. Then you have a platform which allows for registration, but probably prioritizes those who are having access to technology over those who might not have access to technology. And then you have a shortage of doses. All these 3 factors are now leading to a situation where people are scrambling to try to find a slot, but there are no vaccines available or scanty vaccines available. So I think we really need to fix this as soon as possible in the interest of public health and also to build trust in the vaccination enterprise.
Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, this is a bit of a worry because we are looking at numbers, in the middle of April at 40 lakh jabs a day, and now we are somewhere in the region of 16 to 17 lakhs. In fact, May 9th, maybe because it was a Sunday, it was only 4.5 lakhs. At this rate, are we going to ever achieve a strategy of a herd immunity which requires 70% of the population to be vaccinated? And in the meantime, we're also getting reports of the fact that mutants in India, which have a higher rate of infection and contagious nature, and some of these mutants probably becoming a little immune to the current vaccination. Where do we need to fix our vaccination strategy the way it exists at the moment?
Well, there are at least 3 worries. The first, of course, is as you shared at the beginning, the decline in the immunization uptake in the last couple of weeks. Initially, and by initially I mean early January, February, etc., there was vaccine hesitancy, but that vaccine hesitancy has reduced over time. And particularly with the second wave, the demand has actually gone up a lot. And therefore, we saw a steady rise between the second half of March and the first half of April when it was really at its peak. After that, supply certainly has been an issue. So as per data released today by the ministry, there's around 1 crore plus vaccines cumulatively across the states, but at about 10 to 15 lakh vaccinations per day. That's just about a week's supply. But what's really worrying is the number of states against which there is no vaccine allocated in the pipeline. And that really is the worry for those states. And they are legitimately concerned. So the next couple of weeks or even up to a month or 2, we know, or we at least foresee that the vaccine supply is not dramatically going to change. And therefore, the next 2 months is really going to be a lull. And that's equally true of many other countries in the world which are also struggling with the global supply chains.
So if there is, Dr. Sushila Kataria, if there is a problem, if there is going to be a lull, let's look at the status. Let's look at the status of the vaccines. Pfizer vaccine, we're still looking for expedited approval, which hasn't really come in. We're talking about Johnson & Johnson, expected to be only begun to be imported by July. We're talking about the biological which is a 3-phase trial process which is still on. We're talking about Zycov-D by Zydus Cadila. Phase 3 trials are still underway. Covax by SII and Novavax. The status is the phase 3 trials yet to begin. We are right now getting only two types of vaccinations, the Covaxin and the Covishield from Serum Institute and from Bharat Biotech. Sputnik supplies are beginning to come in, but even there the clearance, full clearance hasn't really been given. In this kind of a scenario, with supplies being limited, do you think the liberalized policy of the center stepping out and leaving it to the states is a wise move to make, given the rates that seem to be declining the way we are noticing them declining?
Thank you, Navika. So currently we are in a double trouble. One, the natural infection is spreading so fast, and the vaccination may it be because of the availability of the vaccine. I think supply is the biggest factor. Second factor could be because the infection is so much, people are scared to go to the vaccination centers. So these two things are making it very, very difficult. If this continues like this, we are not going to have any new player besides the Sputnik for next at least 6 months. So what we are looking at, having an abundance of vaccine could be achieved only by 6 months. In these 6 months, either by limited lockdowns or widespread lockdowns, the country would like to control the infection, or we will achieve a natural herd immunity just by everybody getting infected. So liberalization was a good move because people initially were very hesitant in the age group it was provided. So it was everybody's advocacy that let's liberalize it. But I think a more thought of plan would have worked very well, because it's always a demand and supply gap which harms the delivery of the vaccine.
So let me ask you, Dr. Gupta, Dr. Das Gupta. The fact is that initially everybody wanted it opened up. The government was going on a conservative plan of keeping it limited to the 45 plus age group, which was seen as the more vulnerable age group. Now, with the political pressure coming in for opening it for everybody, suddenly we see this clamor coming from states that they are not able to get the quantities that they want. Do you think somewhere in this political bickering, confrontations, we've lost our way in this entire vaccine drive that should have been handled really by the center itself, as it was going on a conservative note?
Well, essentially what state governments, or at least many state governments, were asking for was a flexibility in terms of strategizing. Not all were asking for exactly this, that it be opened up to all. There were states, for example, who are arguing that we would like to vaccinate all in the high incidence districts and not all across the state. So it wasn't really the same thing that all states were asking. That's one. Second, the inflection point really was widening the age group from 50 with comorbidity to 45 plus all, irrespective of comorbidity. Now that one step, that one opening up meant a difference or an additional demand of 200 to 250 million doses. And then when you open up to all adults, 18 plus, obviously it's an astronomical rise in the demand. And these two really are the inflection points, the opening up of 45 plus and the opening up of 18 plus. And now with the liberalized price regime, the states will also need to be given time to draw up that plan, because states will also need to sort out their finances. States will need to sort out the prioritization strategy. For example, Maharashtra coming out with this sort of sub-prioritization that they would first do 35 to 44, provided that said finances are available. Now, even states are also having to face these ifs and buts, and then within states there's a private-public, divide in a sense, or at least a categorization. So put together, now suddenly the program has become a lot more complex, whereas in the original program, and indeed the very successful, as Anant was saying, what we should be legitimately proud of, the routine immunization program supply chain, which is very crucial, which is really the lifeblood of the program, is organized top-down from the four GMSDs, which are the central depots, down to state depots, down to regional depots. That's how vaccine flows. Now, suddenly we are having to cope with a new flow mechanism, and that's what will take some time to recalibrate, even in the best of times.
Well, so Dr. Anand Bhan, do you think this whole policy right now can be corrected by augmenting productions, which will not happen overnight? We're stuck with two alternatives again, which will only begin to show their availability slightly increased by possibly by about June. What are the interim steps that the government can take to augment supplies? Will it have to go back to reducing the age groups? If it doesn't do that, then how do you augment supplies and increase the vaccination rate?
Yeah, I mean, it is a difficult choice, but right now I think what is required is more efficiency in the system. There is enough knowledge and experience within the system to do delivery better. You know, we've done it for many, many years, and we have good systems all the way from Delhi to the state, district, sub-district level. But, you know, this whole confusion around multiple sources of procurement so that, you know, everyone is negotiating independently with the manufacturer is not a great idea. I think we should just have centralized procurement and just have that handled at the central level, because that, I think, will also give us volumes where you might be able to negotiate for better prices. I think we also need to make sure that we understand where the doses are, wherever there is excess doses, we can think about redistribution. That is important. We might have a bit of a shortage in the short term, but we also already should be planning around how are we going to enhance our manufacturing capacity, both with the private players, but also in the government sector. We actually have a few production facilities which have been lying dormant for many years now. CRI Kasauli, Haskins Institute, the big vaccine production park in Chennai, which was set up by Dr. Ramadas when he was health minister, and has basically not been doing anything. You know, if these are facilities within the public sector, we should be thinking of leveraging those as well. So if we can enhance our production and ensure that there is an efficient system of distribution, perhaps we can do better. So I think, you know, there really is a need for a redesign.
Well, Dr. Kataria, just the parting word from you, central control, everybody says, would probably work better. But it's not something that's acceptable politically in the federal system. But do you think, given commercial interests, public sector can be used to ramp up production, and that is the need of the hour, and the government should actually be looking at possibly making commercial subsidies available for taking the formula out of Serum Institute and having it mass produced elsewhere, or having a revenue share agreement or something like that? Because at this rate, we're really looking at a large time span where we will not be able to go back to life as we've known it to be normal.
Well, looking at the size of our population, something out of the box has to be thought. So whatever is available, we have to rationally, rationing of the vaccines or rationally using the vaccine, both has to be done. If I may suggest, so those all who have been infected can be given less priority than those who have never been infected. That's one strategy. Secondly, yes, to increase the production, all the companies will have to, just that ownership thing that, this is my vaccine and I can only make it, thing has to be left, and everybody has to share the formula and ramp up the production, be it private or be it public partners. So that is the only way we can look at things, vaccinating our size of population in the next 1 year. Then only, otherwise we'll be struggling with second wave, third wave, God knows what.
Well, that's the way to go. We need to expand production, and this needs to be done without one company holding the commercial interest in the formula. How the government is able to crack that code, and whether that is the only way that this country needs to move forward in order to immunize such a large population, well, that's the debate out for now, as the experts suggested. Thank you very much to all of you for joining me on debate number 1 right here on the News Hour, the problems with our vaccination drive.